This is a story from around 3 years ago, from a friend I had back in college. She was renting a small house located in a neighborhood near the college and was living on her own at the time. She had been there for about 4 months by the time this story took place, and it had been mostly uneventful and incident-free, but of course, things change. One night, she was startled awake by a sudden scream. A faint, distant scream, that of a woman. It sounded like it was coming from outside. She was kind of shaken, but managed to convince herself that it was probably just a nightmare, and went back to sleep. However, this would turn out to be a mistake. The next day, while she was walking back home after class, she noticed a foul stench that burned her nose as soon as she entered her neighborhood. She couldn't pinpoint exactly where it was coming from, but her gut instincts were telling her that somehow, in some way, her neighbor's house had something to do with it. Now, before I get to this next part, I need to give you a little backstory. When my friend first moved into her house, the house next to hers was unoccupied, totally empty. But about a month later, this middle-aged man moved into it. She would see him standing outside his house pretty often, usually when she was coming back home from school. He had a strangely disturbing demeanor, and you could immediately tell that he didn't care much for hygiene. His clothes and his hair were ragged and unclean, and his teeth were horrifically stained. He just seemed generally disorganized and filthy. Sometimes he would wave and try to strike up a conversation, but she always ignored him as he didn't come off friendly at all, and rather creepy. Back to where I was. The noxious odor that seemed to originate from this guy's house made my friend even more uneasy about him, but she decided not to investigate due to a fear of finding something that she wasn't supposed to and getting in trouble. This would also turn out to be a terrible mistake. A couple of nights later, as she was showering, she heard a fairly loud thud coming from her backyard. She jumped out of the shower, wrapped herself in a towel, and peeked outside to see what it was. What she saw shocked her to her very core. It was that damn creepy-ass neighbor. He was standing in her backyard, staring directly at her through her window. His expression was stern and malicious, and he maintained eye contact the entire time. She noticed a baseball bat in his hand and realized that the thud was him hitting it on something as he jumped over her fence. In an instant, her mind was overwhelmed with pure shock and terror. She raced over to her phone and dialed 911 and explained the situation the best that she could. They quickly dispatched a car to her location, and the operator stayed on the phone with her until they arrived. Suddenly, though, she heard a loud banging at the door. Her blood turned to ice in her veins, and her mind started filling up with the thoughts of the horrific things that would happen if he got her. She was about to cry, but then she heard it. The police were there just in time. The banging on the door was replaced with the sounds of her creepy neighbor being arrested. After a small scuffle, the cops apprehended the creep. They took a statement from her, and she told them everything, including the scream that she heard and the foul stench that she smelled coming from his house. And that was the end of the scariest night that she had ever been in. But her nightmare didn't end there. A few days later, she got a call from the authorities. Apparently, the neighbor, ex-neighbor, was an extremely dangerous serial killer that they had been hunting for years. After they raided his house, they found multiple corpses, and all his victims were women of the same age group. She almost fainted upon hearing the news. The screams she heard, the stench that came from the house, those weren't coincidences. And to think, had she not heard that thud, my friend would have ended up as just another corpse in the pile. There had been some notices in the newspaper about missing people in the region over the past month, but we never expected this. He was living in the house next to her. What were the chances? Had she reported her suspicions, which he had saved somebody's life? All these thoughts crowded her mind, and they still do, all these years later.